Hi, welcome back. Today we are doing the Tropical Paradise paper piecing block, Ocean Waves. What a fun block. I think you're really going to enjoy it. As promised, I always put in your kits the copies of all the patterns. So there's 4 of them. You also have the original in your book, and I can always send more paper piecing paper if you need it. I really like this brand. It is Carol Dokes. It's the cheapest and I think the best. It's easy to tear away, and let's get started. Okay, so this block you're going to use 2 blues and a peach. The peach is your sand. You have 12 inches of the peach because you have twice as much need for that, and you have a 12-inch, but it's cut at the fold of your blues. All right, so have as much on that. This is the block, how it's going to look when they're all put together in your quilt. Little different, but I was watching a commercial as I was picking the fabric, and it said Bahamas pink sand beaches, and I thought, there we go, we're gonna do pink sand beach. Now, I highly recommend, because I copied your pattern, I didn't change anything. So make yourself a little chart. Cut a little scrap off of it. S instead of sand color is now peach. T, you can either change, scribble that out, write the letter over, or write the word. But just so you know, when you see T, this is the color. B, this is the color. And S, this is the color. I do find a chart. You get going in a hurry, like me, and all of a sudden you pick the wrong color up, and it will make a huge difference in this pattern. So as with all of the paper piecing directions I've given you, one of the techniques I've come up with and people really like, flip your paper over, and if you lay it on a white, white paper, this happens to be a white cutting board, these lines are very visual, and just use a pencil. You don't need to use a ruler, and what you're going to do is just placement lines. Remember, in paper piecing, we sew on the printed line, and I usually make a notation of that, and we place on the blank line, but not after you've drawn your line. Okay, so there we are. Highly recommend you do that, and this is where we're headed. Then you're going to go in your book, and you can, why do we use paper piecing paper? Because it is so easy to remove. If you've tried to use regular paper, it is impossible to remove. So you're going to come to page 7 in your book, and you know we looked at these my directions from before. I couldn't really improve on them, I don't think. You're going to cut it exactly like it says here. So these are your colors, your 2 blues. You're going to cut like this, and your peach or sand color you're going to cut like that, and stack those pieces up. So now you've got all your pre-cuts, and stack those, put them aside. All right, so we've got those all ready. The first one you're going to do, and my directions, I think they held pretty true on this, you're going to make a 4 patch. You know, I looked at this when I first designed it, and you really can't, paper pieces. If you went here to here, well, then you'd have to have a double here. The only super tricky part of this is I highly recommend, okay, here's what we're doing. Be sure you put this on correctly. Your darker blue is at the top. I was so worried about making sure that, here we go, here's my center, right? I've pieced it, and I wanted to make sure I got it right there in the center. Can you see that inch? Mm-hmm. All right. Then I flipped this the wrong way, so give it another check. All right, it wants the dark blue here. All right. And a lot of people use glue stick. I don't have anything against glue stick. A place like this, I probably would put a little smidge of glue stick and put it on there. It's acid free. Make sure it's acid free and washable, and you're good to go. Okay, so that's the tricky part in that one. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did mine wrong the first time, and I had to rip out those stitches and do it again. So step 1, and that's covering your blocks there. Then step 2, we're going to read the color, and the color this time is S. So we're going to go to our sand, which is our pink sand. We're going to take our strip that we've cut here, and I'm going to get pretty boring here, I think. I'm just going to go through, stitch and flip. I'm going to review trimming. All right, now we've got our next piece. We've done our pieces where we trimmed away. Let's review how to trim it. So we're going to take our block and flip it over, and we take a, remember you need an index card or something to lay along that line. Let's go right here, pretend like and we're going to fold it right on that line. See where we are here? You with me? Okay. We're going to take and fold this back. We're going to take our add a quarter ruler. Love that add a quarter ruler. My favorite is this size. Some people like the really long one, but I find that one kind of gets in my way. And then we're going to trim away. I love a sharp rotary cutter. Open it up. And you're not going to be able to see through this, but now our perfect seam allowance is ready to go with our next pattern. What's our next piece there, Ange? What number is it?
I can't read it.
You can't read it because it's upside down. It's number 10, and it's your dark blue. So you're going to get your dark blue piece, and I'll be amazed if I can find one cut the right size. And this time I would lay it right on there. I usually pin it. I put one pin in just to hold it in place. And then you're going to flip it over. You know, you want to be sure you don't turn this up as you start to sew it. So slide it in there, stitch along your line, open it up, trim it. Let's go back to a previous one. Let's do that trimming one more time. So here I am. All right. I want to trim this one. And if you go in order, so here's 5. Here's 6, here's 7, here's 8, here's 9. So that's going to be the line I trim, and I think that's the line we just trimmed. Now I'm going to go to 10. Just trimmed that one, so that's the 11. I'm going to fold that back one more time. Get this out of the way. Lock your ruler in there. Cut, open it up, and now it's all ready for your next piece. Okay, all right, so there's that, and you just keep going around. There's 4, a lot of times I'll do 1, and then I'll do the next 3 chain piece. It's however you want to do it. Some people do 1 complete block. Where am I? What I like about paper piecing, let's see if this will work. Can you get a little close on this one, Ange? If you find your line, your last stitch line, it'll tell you where you need to go. So here's 7 is stitch 6. All right, I'm at 9, that's stitch 10, 11, 12. So I must be on 13, and I sure am. So here's the next one I'm on right here. Do you see? Can you get real close? There's no stitching on this line, but there is on number 12. And how do I know which line? It's the common line, the line between the 2 blocks. So I'm on this line. I'm going to fold it back and trim. All right, 13, 14. Here I am. Here's 14. Let's see if that one's trimmed. There we go. Whoop, it's not trimmed. So now I'm going to take, as the block gets bigger, the lines get bigger. Bligger? Did I say bligger? I think I said bligger, Ange. Angie has done a fabulous job. I can't thank her enough for being such a great videographer. Look at that. Perfect. You always want to be sure that you've left that 1/4 inch there. You won't have anything to sew on. All right. You see how easy it is? All right. So that's 10, 11, 12. What do I have? Where am I? Where am I? Okay. 9 is done. 10 is done. 11 is done, 12 is done, so it must be, as Angie is whispering, 13. 13 is done, 14 is done, 15. So here's my next line, 15. Fold that back, lock it in. I love paper piecing. I love the perfection of it. I just love that it's always perfect, especially if you're doing anything geometric. All right, and our last one, 16. We're going to fold that back. And you're right, I don't have my index card there. And I'm looking out because there we are. Now, I have one more row to put on, and after I do that, I want to make some recommendations. There you go. And then here is our last one. Now with this one, you want to be sure that you trim it to 6.5. And the line is right there. Sometimes the paper can shrink while you're paper piecing, so you might not want to go strictly by the lines. Use your ruler, you understand, for accuracy. Okay, here's one that one of the ladies helped me make and test my pattern. Thank you, Sandy. And what she did, she wrote quite a bit on each of these, the back of them, and even went ahead and sewed them all together. On this block, feel free to sew them all together. I highly recommend a stay stitching the seam so they stay nice and crisp while you're working with them. Look at that, all ready to go. And I'm going to try in the next couple weeks to get the quilt all put together, and you'll be getting some choices for your backings. I think I'll do another video on your choice, probably some different sashings. I have a few different colors, and yeah, so we can individualize them. Gosh, it's been a lot of fun. I thank you all. And I'll be seeing you again in a few weeks with your final pick your borders and your sashing. No additional charge for those, just the block of the month amount. And thank you once again. Don't hesitate to email me with any questions. Bye-bye.